Good evening. Thank you for making the effort in coming to Kuch Khaas. My name is Nilofer Afridi Qazi. I will be moderating the series on Islam at Kuch Khaas as and when we organize them. Today we have Ambassador Iftikhar Murshed, Uncle Ifti with us. He is the publisher of the quarterly called Criterion. It is also recently up on the web, www.criterion_quarterly.com. The publications that Uncle Ifti has in the news vis-a-vis the topic that under discussion today, which is the myths and truths of the Hudood law in Pakistan, are also available on Kuch Khaas's website. So it would be useful if you find the discussion interesting that you go back and make reference to those publications, because then there's a lot more information based on the discussion, and today is a discussion. So with that, I will pass it on to Uncle Ifti. Just a little bit about the format. Usually we give the speaker, if it is a single speaker, about 15 minutes, and then we'll open it up to discussion.
I'll tell you of a terrible thing that happened. A woman was walking in a mountainous area, hooded. She was dragged, thrown down, and 4 bearded men started hurling rocks at her, crushed her to death, and kept on hurling these stones and rocks at her. This was captured by Al-An television of Dubai, and a clip was shown on Pakistan television. It happened on the 28th of September 2010. It happened in this country. Yes, this is what happened to this woman, because she was alleged to have committed adultery. All I can say is this, that the priests have taken heaven from us. Successive governments have snatched the earth too. And I say this with reference to the Hudood laws. The Hudood laws are a travesty of justice. As Edmund Burke says, that bad laws are the worst form of tyranny, and so it is with the Hudood ordinances. What is depressing, what is frightfully morbid, is that these laws continue to be in our statute books. And in this sense, I would like to congratulate Kuch Khaas, and if you don't mind me calling you, Nino, who sort of arranged this little meeting of ours. The idea is to have a brainstorming and to get your ideas and your views on how this insidious law can be rescinded. Before the introduction of the Hudood laws, we had the Anglo-Saxon laws, which included the Penal Code, the Code of Criminal Procedure, the Evidence Act, and with the promulgation of the Hudood ordinances in 1979 and implemented the following year, these laws were retained, but certain changes were made on the ground that these were Islamic. Take it from me, I've done some studies on this. It is anything but Islamic. The Hudood laws deal with 5 sets of laws. One is called zina. And here is under the zina laws, adultery as well as fornication is included. The second of the laws is on qazaf, which is a fanciful term, meaning nothing more than punishment that is to be meted out to anyone who cannot punish the crime of zina. The third is a prohibition order, which gives 80 lashes with the whip, which is again not prescribed by the Quran, is a complete deviation from the Quran. The fourth is the offense against property, which again we find deviations from the Quran. The fifth is an amendment to the Code of Criminal Procedure. I shall pitch my tent for most of this discussion on the first of the Hudood laws, and that relates to zina. Under these laws, the primary victims have been women. These laws are a complete distortion of Islam. Have no doubt about that. If anyone were to ask me to define Islam, I would use just one word, and that is the Quran. The Quran is Islam. Anything that the Quran does not prescribe in the form of law is not Islam. Let us come to what the Hudood Ordinance on zina has to say. First and foremost, it says that a married Muslim adult committing zina, adultery, is to be stoned to death. The punishment for an unmarried adult Muslim or a non-Muslim is 100 lashes with the whip. Now, this is utter nonsense as far as the Quran is concerned. What does the Quran say? This is available, the laws are available in Surah Nur, verse 2, which simply says that for the adulterer and the adulteress, the punishment is 100 lashes. Nowhere does the Quran prescribe stoning to death. Neither is any distinction made between married Muslims and unmarried Muslims. In short, there is no difference whatsoever between what the West like to say adultery and fornication. They're one and the same according to Islamic jurisprudence. I would just like to flag one idea with you, and that idea is, if the Quran really did prescribe stoning to death for adultery, can I just ask you one question? Would in another of the verse of the Quran, the ordinance is this: for a person in bondage, the punishment for adultery is half, not half, as for married Muslims. So will someone tell me what the half of stoning to death is? Second, verse 3 of Surah Nur says that the married, that an adulterer will couple only with an adulteress. Now, how on earth can you couple with someone if you're stoned to death? So, This proves conclusively that there is no stoning to death in Islam. Question: why are these still in your statute books? Why? What are we doing about it? Has any action been taken to rescind these fraudulent laws? Then we come to another crime in the name of the Hudood laws, and that is the requirement of 4 witnesses. Fine, the Quran does prescribe 4 witnesses, but what is the spirit of Islamic law? The spirit of Islamic law is to promote justice, because all laws are based on the rights of men, and this is the Quran speaking, not me. Now, supposing a woman is raped and she is unable to produce 4 witnesses, what the Hudood law does, it condemns the woman for zina and punishes her. Now, this is another distortion of Islamic law, and I'll tell you how. The preamble of the zina ordinance under the Hudood ordinances reads that this law on zina is meant to bring our laws in conformity with the Quran and the Sunnah. And at the same time, it includes rape in this category, or zina bil jabr. Again, this is a deviation from Islam. Rape is a crime of violence, and the law in the Quran relates to consensual sexual intercourse, either between married or unmarried adults. Rape is a completely different category, and it falls in the category of what is known as hiraba. And this is confirmed by the fiqh as-sunnah, which brings together all the laws of Islam, where rape is defined, amongst other things, it's a crime of violence punishable under hiraba. The government, this was the Hudood laws on zina were challenged in 1981 at the Federal Shariat Court. The court consists, it was established in 1980, and it consists of 8 judges, 3 of them from the ulama, the others are serving judges. It's an appellate court. That means the 3 ulamas have no legal experience. So when this was challenged in 1981, what did the learned judges say? 3 of them said that this punishment is un-Islamic, the punishment of stoning.